Students at the University of Cape Town have been protesting to remove the statue of Cecil John Rhodes, one of the founding figures of colonialism. On social media, the movement has been dubbed Rhodes Must Fall, and it has sparked great debate amongst Rhodes University students. Issues of transformation have come to the forefront, particularly issues of changing the name of the institution. Now we are going to talk to Professor Paul Maylam, who has been part of the conversation to transform the university, particularly changing the name of the institution, which dates back as far as 1994. So Professor Maylam, can you tell us where this conversation of transformation started?
Yes, well, the debate about Rhodes has been going on for a long time. I mean, I myself wrote a book about how Rhodes has been remembered and commemorated in the 20th century, and there are numerous biographies of him. And I think it's a name that we are landed with rather uncomfortably. Back in 1994, there was a motion put before the University Senate to change the name. I wasn't actually there at the time, I was on leave. The motion was referred to an ad hoc committee, and the committee recommended that the name be retained. And their reasoning was not that Rhodes was a great hero, but rather that the name had a certain brand value.
We wouldn't be the first. Rand Afrikaans University changed to the University of Johannesburg in 2004. So why have we not started that conversation now?
Yeah, lots of universities have changed their name. University of Port Elizabeth has become Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University. What was University of Transkei is now Walter Sisulu University. So it can be done, but I think it will be particularly difficult at Rhodes.
Why is that?
The reason is this, that how do you do it? My view is that really the only way it could be done is from some kind of edict on high, either the Vice-Chancellor or university management saying, we are going to change the name of the university. As soon as you try to democratize the process, canvassing opinion from alumni, in particular, current students and staff, the majority view, I imagine, would be not to change the name. So if you go, as I say, follow a democratic process, then the name will have to stay. If you adopt a more authoritarian route, the people who object to the name change will complain not only about the change, but also about the process leading to the change. They will say, well, there's no consultation. And there are a lot of alumni out there who give quite a lot of money to Rhodes. And those are the ones who will say, well, I'm going to stop giving money. And here you could be talking about millions of rand. And the university is financially stretched.
So in conclusion, do you think that in changing the name, there would be a lot of commercial value sacrifice in terms of the brand name and the finances that are coming to the university? Do you think that's the compromise between transformation and commercial interests?
That would be the cost. There's no doubt about it. There would be significant costs in changing the name. So we are left living with it rather uncomfortably, as I do. I don't feel comfortable with the name of Rhodes.
We spoke to the Director of Equity and Institutional Culture at Rhodes, Ms. Noluxolo Nhlapo, who elaborates on the transformational progress that the university has made thus far.
People who've been here 50 years ago would not recognize the institution now in terms of the more obvious transformation, which is the demographics of the institution. It has definitely changed. But there's more that is going on. That is much, much deeper transformation. There are initiatives, for example, in the changing of the curriculum, teaching and learning practices, etc. Those tend to be overlooked when the discussion of transformation happens mainly in the public. You know, like the public discourse on transformation tends to focus on the change in demographics. I'm not saying that is not important. That is as important as transformation of the curriculum, transformation of other practices within the institution. And these are related to each other. You cannot transform the curriculum without transforming the demographics, etc. There's a systemic relationship between all these facets of transformation. We should not forget that. In terms of the name change itself, This is a discussion that clearly needs to happen. However, we should also bear in mind that changing the name can also be just cosmetic change. It will not necessarily lead to deeper transformation. And what we are more concerned with, what we're after, is a deeper transformation of the institution.
In an effort to ground and mobilize the movement, students at Rhodes University gathered at the Drodsty lawns to pledge their solidarity with the students at UCT.
Know thyself, as it was written in every temple in Kemet. Europeans have fooled us and demonized our courage. They have programmed us to follow on their procedures. Now we need to come together and start to take our rights forward to our humanity.
Despite the rainy weather, there was a decent turnout. Students used this opportunity to air their concerns about the slow pace of transformation at Rhodes University and to also bring up the conversation about the name change.
I mean, it's a testament to the apathy around us, and especially the liberal mindsets of certain students here. And it's the students that have capital behind them that we need to start thinking. Because then we can change things. And the thing is, those are the students that you don't see here in the rain today, mostly. And the thing is, that's the thing. I think it's fitting that it was raining today, and I think it's fitting that there's so many of us. This gives us hope, because I'm sure many of us have felt in isolation in our pockets of friends at Rhodes. The apathy here can get... it can get blinding.
You need to feel ashamed to be in Rhodes University and read books. You know, it's important to read. What does it mean to decolonize? Have we decolonized as a society? When we have names like Rhodes University, what does it mean? You know, to say that donors will run away if we change the name, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Because you don't care of the memory of black people. You know, the psychological effects of apartheid and colonialism, you don't care about that. You don't care about the human suffering of black people. That's what you don't care about if you don't want to change Rhodes University. Rhodes must change. Amanda!
On this very ground we stand on is where black people were whipped. We launched the barracks on there. All these symbols are literally here. And the university, for the life of me, doesn't choose to tell us in orientation week. This is where you're standing. This is where this place was built, on these people's bones, on these people's blood. So I think that's important. History, guys. We need to...
You know, my problem with the SRC group, you know, when you're raising critical issues there that are concerning certain students in this institution, they can easily, conversations like that, they can easily degenerate into a laughing matter or a diatribe in many cases. So I really want to thank this platform, and I think this is a beginning. This is the beginning of something, because we need these dialogues, and this is not going to end here.
Yeah, because I think this is a really important topic, and I think it's a topic that Rhodes, we haven't adequately addressed this yet, as the student body at least. In the past it's come up, but we haven't done this properly, and I think it's time we need to think about naming very seriously.
OppiTV attempted to get a comment from the SRC Activism and Transformation Councillor, Lindhorst Zungulushaba, to no avail. However, the SRC President, Siyanda Makhubo, did make an appearance at the Solidarity Gathering and was put on the spot by the students to respond on behalf of the SRC.
The position of the SRC is that we listen to all conversations, and we also encourage that these open conversations continue. Because the last thing we want to have is that we want to be an SRC that doesn't listen, an SRC that's not open-minded, but we want to be an SRC that listens, an SRC that takes everything that the student says and put that and table that to discussions. Our mandate still remains the same. Ours is to represent students, whatever our own personal convictions may be. As long as the students speak, then ours is to represent that.
I think that the SRC is part of a huge depoliticization campaign that is going on at this university.
Oh yes!
I think SRC supports things like balance the debate when it comes to Palestine. I think that there are certain issues at this university where there is no debate, where it isn't about balancing the debate. It isn't about two sides of the story. There is one side to the story. There is no argument for why Rhodes University should have the name Rhodes. There is no argument for why this town should still be named the town of Colonel Graham. There is no balance the debate here. It is actually deeply depoliticizing to maintain this idea of objectivity. We are a university. It's supposed to be about robust political debate. We're supposed to be taking these things forward. But this kind of balance the debate and social media listicles and hashtags, they're not contributing anything. They're not contributing anything intellectually.
The SRC, as a bureaucratic, depoliticized institution, spends more time organizing crap parties than looking after excluded black working class students.
Where is the Vice Chancellor of this university right now? The SRC has shown that it does not have any interest in what we are doing, in this project that we are doing, and we're going to have to take it up by ourselves. Just echoing the young man's quote on Fanon, that it is up to us to take this mandate forward. Every generation must find its mission, fulfill it or betray it. Let us not betray the people whose blood still stanches this hall. This pathway.
Rhodes University as SRC is very much accustomed to protecting whiteness in the institution. It's very much preoccupied with making whiteness feel comfortable and making whiteness able to breed and manifest and mutate in ways that are horrific and horrendous, and promoting structural violence against people who look like me and people who occupy and embody what it means to be black. And so when the SRC responds, especially in relation to this process, when they say that they use the trope of all students matter and all students are central, for me that is a cop-out. It's derailing. It's, as one of the speakers had said, Kamilita Naika, it's trying to balance the debate in order to make certain bodies comfortable and in order to make certain people, white people, on this campus and in this institution not account for the ways in which institutional culture in this campus protects them. It creates a safety net for them which does not exist for people who look like me.
After the testimonials from students, alumni, staff and community members, the movement marched peacefully towards the main admin building, and the doors were closed by the campus protection unit to stop them from entering the building. We got comments from those who attended to speak about the importance of this conversation.
We pledge solidarity with the struggles. We also believe with our convictions that the name Rhodes University must go away. Because it's a legacy of the dehumanization of black people. It's a legacy of a history of violence against black people. So we think as part of decolonization, these names constitute a mental violence against our people. So the name Grahamstown must go, the name Rhodes University must go.
I think that, I don't know if throwing poo was the greatest way to do it, but it was a way, after having multiple discussions, as I've heard, they spoke a lot about it. It was just, I feel like it was just time for them to do something radical like that in order to be heard, in order for this movement to pick up the way it is. And for me, I'll say I'm thankful because now we're having this conversation nationwide.
Well, clearly we're implicated in the fact that our name is Rhodes, and so we're somewhat implicated in the legacy of Rhodes, and bringing attention to his legacy is therefore going to implicate us. And I think that being in an institution named after Rhodes, we have somewhat of an obligation to interrogate the validity of that.
This is Kuzo Tsikani reporting for OppiTV, Grahamstown.